Hi guys, and welcome to the channel and welcome to another video. First and foremost, I just want to say a big thank you to all the supporters of the channel, friends old and new. If you're watching the videos, commenting on the videos, subscribing even better, it's greatly appreciated. It might take me a day or so to reply to comments at the moment. I am just really snowed under with other work at the moment. I've got a lot of other stuff going on in my life at the moment, which it's just taking up my time a little bit. So, but I will get to each and every comment and reply to it. So please keep them comments coming. I do enjoy reading them, and like I said, when I replied to them, I like to I've read them more properly and what have you to give a response. But yeah, secondly, I want to apologise. I mean, if anybody made it to the end of the last update video on the generic box art build, you'll notice that ended abruptly. But leading up to that, about 5 minutes before that video cut off, I mentioned that somebody had sent me a text message to say we're going to get the national government message through all phones, and what I didn't know is that completely shut off my camera when it came through, so I probably ended up waffling on another 5 minutes about nothing anyway. So yeah, that was just the reason why that last video just ended abruptly as it did. But yeah, I've not really done a stash ad video since January, really. I did one in February where I bought a few kits from an auction, but I think I ended up selling all but 8 of those. There was no way I could let £1,000 leave my bank and not get some of that, or the majority of that money back. And I just kept the ones which I wanted to keep, the really old stuff and the annual stuff. A few of the older MPC ones and things like that. So, but all the rest ended up going, to be quite honest. I think I just shipped the last one off to Japan last week. But yeah, so I want to keep these videos purely as stuff which I'm adding to my personal stash, and ones which I've wanted and for a while, or have caught me interest and what have you. But yeah, I mean, I with me sort of working for myself now, I have to keep it down. I think I've got about 14 kits since that January build, which I'm including in this video. But there's some nice stuff in there. There's stuff I like to buy for my own stashes. Stuff that's harder to come by. Some stuff in as hard as other stuff. But there's a few nice bits in this lot. So without further ado, yeah, I mean, I thought I'd start with one of the newer ones. I do have a soft spot for all this Prestige series stuff. It was very much kits of my childhood. And I think I mentioned in that other video I've done recently that you could pick the Prestige stuff up every now and again in cheap discount stores, but this was never one of the ones which I was included in them. Could never find a Prestige Grand Prix, and I've had a few of this issue before, but the boxes were being really ratty, and for this kind of stuff, I do like a decent box on them, and I just think they did really nice art renderings on these. I know it's a very touched up picture of the actual model, so to speak, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of artwork gone in that to make them look like they do, but sharpen them up. But I think they all look nice on these box arts, and I really wouldn't mind at some point building them like the box art. And yeah, somebody was selling a load of Prestige ones, and I just picked up a couple. I've got plenty of the others. There's a few which I'm not overly interested in, but I just thought these were great old 3-in-1 kits, and a lot of them like 63 Galaxy, you know, when I think when these were coming out in the mid to late 80s, I think this one's a really late one for the Prestige line. I think they were sort of starting to bring them out in 86, 87 kind of time, and yeah, there's some of the first times we've seen the kit since the original annual. I mean, a lot in the range have been churned out in the years when Matchbox took over. You know, they brought out the Avanti and what have you, and Mercedes and other various kits. But yeah, the 63 Galaxy was one which we'd only ever seen in the annual 63, and you know, by the early 80s, you know, sort of MPC and AMC, you know, they kind of done away with the annual thing. You know, the early 80s, I think they both, the companies tried to carry it on with just issuing things like Corvettes and Berettas and stuff like that, to the point where they knew that the cars just weren't interested anymore. So I think that was when AMT started really looking into the back catalogue and seeing what kits could be restored, tooling could be used and what have you. So yeah, in the early 80s to mid to late 80s, we were seeing a lot of stuff which we hadn't seen since the original release. Pretty sure the Grand Prix had probably been out quite a few times since then, but yeah, just a nice range really, and you know, they always had extra stuff in them. You either got a display case or a display base or accessories like this. I think, you know, they use various part packs in some of them. You got, I think in the Corvette, you got all the drag pack with the drag lights and stuff like that. I think the Avanti came with the trophies, and so they used quite a lot of that old tooling and added them into these to make them a little bit more special. But yeah, we'll stop banging on about Prestige stuff. Even there, I did buy another one from that lot. Big fan of the Pontiacs, obviously, and I don't think they did really the custom version much justice on this. But yeah, that's a display case you would get in, display base you would get in them. Pretty naff really, but yeah, that was just a couple of Prestige ones I got. I picked up another one of these. Yeah, this for a long time when I was a kid was my holy grail. You know, I think my dad had one or my brother had one, and it just disappeared in the late 80s. Probably got built or smashed up or something, and you know, I always loved this box art, to be quite fair, and I think since then I've had every single issue of the 65 Chevelle. Sold most of them now, but you know, for some reason this one's always been my favourite box art, even past the annual one. Hence why I don't have the annual anymore, and I've got a couple of these likes. Yeah, this one came up at not a bad price. Yeah, I had that, and I even like that box art so much that I built one, I think, in my late teens. Yeah, it stood the test of time well and what have you. Yeah, maybe late teens, very early 20s at the very latest. But yeah, I built it pretty much box stock. You know, used all the kit decals, and yeah, maybe I did. Yeah, I think I did the wheelie bars, and I think there's a loop roll bar in there and what have you. But yeah, even painted up the ramps to make it look like the box and what have you. But so yeah, that was a nice old one, and I just loved all it showed so many variants. And I mean, it was very 80s customizing stuff in here, but they built them to sort of bring them up to speed a bit. But yeah, I mean, they were all original tooling from 65. Then I don't think much had changed after they'd changed the tooling from the 64 really. So yeah, another newish one. I think I got one more of these in collection, and I actually bought it before it was before the USACC. They pulled Mafia from model car videos name out the hat, and everybody's sort of joking about him picking the 48 Ford, and never built one. But I've always liked this box art. I think it's the best box art they did for this 48 Ford, and the reason being it was the only time they showed the custom version on there. Yeah, I think all the other issues, it kind of didn't really acknowledge that you could build a nice custom out of it. I mean, it's a loaded kit, like, and you only ever saw it either the artwork of a stock 48 Ford, or just pictures of a built model. But yeah, and I think this is the only one that I've seen that Mafia hasn't got. The only issue that Mafia hasn't got, and they did quite a few other IMC kits. They did a lot of the early Le Mans cars, and the VW Beetle. They made the VW Beetle look really nice on that, and they built it. I think it was red on the box as well. I've got one of those in the Union series. But yeah, they brought out quite a few nice kits. Did Union, and I think they even bought out a few AMC kits in this box. I'm pretty sure I've seen the 66 Mustang in this box art as well, under the Union badge. Don't come up to market very much, that one, and when they rarely do, I don't really bother with them, because I'm not that interested in that kit, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, that was a nice one. I'm just seeing this price tag. Oh no, it's not a price tag, but yeah, originally bought from Beatties. Beatties was a very well-known hobby shop, national hobby shop. They had them all over the place in the 80s and early 90s. I can't remember when. I think the closest one to us was Leeds. We're in York, so it was about 25 miles away, and I was only ever old enough to go in there a couple of times. My dad, he used to do a lot of driving, and he used to come home with kits from various places. One of them being Beatties. He's bought a few kits home from there. But talking about auctions, yeah, that auction I bought all them kits from in that auction or video, I stepped away from them because they were ended up going for a lot of money, and I can't buy kits for around about the same money, if not a little bit less than what I could probably sell them for. But there were a few kits in there, and somebody else bought pretty much the rest of them. But then he obviously selling them on eBay, and it just enabled me to pick out the one or two which I really wanted out of that 100 kits, which they all ploughed into one auction, and I was really surprised with this one. So the chap listed this one. I mean, I think he's a pretty reputable seller, and I think he did really well on some of them, and he pictured them very well. This is like all the kits he bought. He actually made the effort to take the parts out and lay them out, a bit like I do and what have you. And good on him, because there's not a lot of sellers out there, because a lot of people who sell kits on eBay, they don't really know what they're selling. They'll find them in the loft or something, and then they'll just open the box and have one picture showing inside the box, so you don't really know what you're buying. But yeah, this was it surprised me, because I was watching this one and I did want this one, and I think it was a start price of 25 quid, and I was really busy at the time, and I forgot all about the auction, and I was really surprised to see it didn't sell. So he listed it again for the same price, and I put a bid on within 2 hours of him listing it at the start price. I don't think I put anything higher than that, for 25 quid, and I don't know. I really don't know why this one didn't sell. I think a lot of people thought this was the re-release of the new tool from from the 90s, and it's not. It's this is the original 68. Has all the customizing parts in it and what have you, and didn't have the vinyl top on it. And some might say it's the inferior kit, but I really don't believe so. I just didn't. I'm just not a massive fan of that other tool. And I think they do build into really nice kits, but I think ever since I saw it with the original, when they originally bought that new tool out, and it was a red car on the box, and it did absolutely nothing for me whatsoever, and I think it just looked like a toy, to be fair, and yeah, I didn't think they did it justice at all on that. But I've been after one of these for a long time, and I mean, all of these now I've sorted through and bagged them up, and you know, I've got them all sorted like I like to. But yeah, like I say, it don't have the vinyl top on it. It's, for me, it's I do like building old kits, and even if there's a better kit out there, or a new kit being retooled, I always like the simplicity of the old ones. And this is a really nice one, and yeah, I think the only thing it didn't have, like most of these kits from that auction, it didn't have decals in it, but you know, I'm pretty sure I can find decals and tones of I think the one which Round 2 bought out in the same kind of box art was yellow, where you could sort of see this as a tone of green in it, like a really light apple green. And yeah, I think I'd like to build it like that, to be quite fair. And but like I say, yeah, I was really chuffed with that one. The other one I got from that seller was this one. This one's been started, and yeah, I think I've had one of these before, and yeah, it because I don't buy much Monogram stuff. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of the stuff. It's just that I like other stuff more, and yeah, my Monogram stash is very, very little. I don't keep much at all. There's a few old favourites which I'll keep, whether they're built or unbuilt. But yeah, Monogram, I'm not a massive fan, and this kit's been churned out a million times since this release, and I think as recently as I think they're just selling them off in Ollie's in America. I think all you guys in America are buying them up at $8 each, and it's pretty much the same kit, but you got I think in that one you got the chrome reverse wheels with the moon caps on there. But this is the only issue where it's got the custom grille in it, like the Big Deuce. I've always fancied building this one, to be honest. I think this will get a build. Like I say, it is a build of this one. I think body's been painted, but everything's there and what have you. So it's been started and what have you. So we'll have to strip the paint and what have you. But you know, I think yeah, I like this one. I like the original Blue Beetle as well. You know, that was a nice kit as well. But yeah, so we will get that one done at all. I think that one's definitely going to stay. I've sold too many of them before in the past and regretted it. What else have we got? Like I say, there's not a great deal in this video. I mean, knowing me, I'll make it last like. But another one I've been after for a long time. I think I had the Mercury at one point, but you know, that one got sold in a moment of need, so to speak. But I mean, this is just your basic 49.4 kit, which has been churned out a million times. But I was after one with some nice decals in it, and so once I actually get round to learning how to make my own decals, I can just scan the sheet, because it is a pretty nice one. Colours are pretty nice in this, I think. I don't really like digging out stuff too much, but once I've all started it. But yeah, decals are in good condition, like, so hopefully I'd manage to get a scan off them, and we'll like to build a few of them. You know, they did a couple of cars in this range and what have you, but yeah, you just got the extra decals and the ramps on these. So yeah, I was glad to get that one, and yeah, I was thinking maybe one day I'd, as we all do, and probably a project which is never going to happen because yeah, I think my time on this planet's I've got too many projects to probably get to one of these, but I'll keep it as long as I can, to be quite fair, and you know, hopefully I'll get round to building it one day. But yeah, obviously did the 50, 54 convertible and 49 Merc in the same range, and the hauler and what have you. But yeah, nice one that. I was a bit of a fan of the old stunt shows and what have you as a kid and what have you, and like Joey Chitwood's and all that kind of carry on. Or however you pronounce it, but yeah, we saw this one in last video. To be quite honest with you, in the last video where I was looking at some of my favourite annuals and what have you, and yeah, we've seen this one before, like, but yeah, this is I bought this in last month or so. You know, it came up at the right price, and like Sean says, you can pretty much build 2 kits out of this if you had an extra body, because you've got 2 chassis in it. But yeah, really nice one, that one. Original annual. Another Joanne 6.5 Plymouth convertible, Fury convertible. Again, I think I've had a few of these as built and unbuilt, and they've always, I think I've sold, I don't think I've any more the 65s or 66s the Furies. I think I've regrettably sold all of them in the past, you know, when you got bills to pay and what have you. They were just a really easy kit to sell, really quick, fast sale, and like I say, that's the only time you'll ever see me selling stuff like this, is when I got a few bills to pay, and you know, I'm a realist at the end of the day. You know, I can't sort of plead poverty if I've got when I'm looking down the hallway and it's got thousands of pounds worth of kits in there. You know, I don't like to lend money or anything like that. So yeah, when the time comes, it's look at what you got, get rid of what you got, and keep a roof over your heads. But yeah, this is another nice one, another addition to the flat boxes I've got. I think a lot of my flat boxes, to be fair, are sort of 65, 66s, around that period, to be quite fair. You know, I don't have too many of the other years, but you know, just good old box art all the way around it as usual, and you know, you've got some nice customizing bits in this one. So yeah, that was a nice one. What else we got? Yeah, I bought this one, and it was sort of stretching my budget a little bit. It was getting a bit tasty on the price. I think it ended around 50, in the low 50s or something like this, and it's a pretty mint kit, to be quite fair. I think the only thing that had been started on it was the engines had been painted, and somebody had half painted the chassis plate, but didn't really get very far on it. The reason I bought this is because I was watching it at the beginning, and then my brother messaged me and said, "Oh, if you're watching this one, it's actually at the charity shop down the road from you. You know, I can literally walk to the end of the path outside my house and look to the right, and I can see that charity shop." So yeah, I thought, you know, it was free shipping on it, so I wasn't saving any money at all by bidding on it. But I was just interested to see what goes on in there, because I think it was selling out of like a furniture shop, on a charity furniture shop. So yeah, but I bid on it, and just because it was easy and I could pick it up the next day and have a look at it after the auction. And yeah, I think I bet there's a few people who watch these videos probably bid on this one as well. But yeah, I thought yeah, I went down, had a chat with the chap who was running it, and out the back, I sort of said, "Do you have any more or anything?" And unfortunately, they didn't. But it's interesting to find out what goes behind the scenes in charity shops. You'll never see stuff like this hardly put on a shelf. I think you'd be really lucky because charity shops have got wind that a great deal of their donations, are worth more than a couple of quid in the shop. It's like this chap, his sole job was to sell on eBay, and he showed me, he bought out quite a few old toys, and there's that dinky, what's the big dinky fire engine and stuff like that. He had all that in box and stuff. And in all fairness, if I bought anything more off him, it probably would have been just out of goodness of my heart. And to be quite honest, after spending 50 quid on this, I didn't have much. I had goodness in my heart, but not in my wallet at the time. So, and they weren't really model kits. There was just like a few old diecast and stuff like that. And yeah, I had to pass them up, and there was a few boat kits and other bits and pieces, but yeah, it was interesting to find out, like I say, what goes on. But yeah, I'd really like to build this one. Stock, the 67 body was a little bit different to the 69 we've been left with. Obviously, it got changed from 67, 68, and then we ended up with a 69, I think, which is under MPC. I think I don't know. I'm assuming there was some kind of merger in that time, and MPC got the tooling. I think they reissued that one in the mid to late 80s. But yeah, another nice one. And I don't know why, because I don't like boxes where there's no artwork on the end, but for some reason the 67 lineup, I just loved the colours on it, and I loved the font of the writing. It really did capture the 60s. And this is a nice box all the way around, to be quite fair. Colours are really good and what have you, and yeah, the kit's pretty much, like I say, it's pretty much unstarted. It's got the chassis plate half painted, but yeah, most of the bits are still on the sprue. So I was happy to get that one. And then there was a lot of really nice kits recently. Some of them went for more than I thought they would do, to be quite fair. And I only bought one of them, to be quite honest with you. A lot of them had broken bodies or cut up bodies, but there was some really nice untouched ones. There was 67 Lincoln, which just went out of my price range. I would have been interested in that one, but like I say, I've got a budget myself, and yeah, I'd certainly met my budget on this one. The only fault with this one was it had a really clean break to the one of the screen posts, but the whole part was in there, including the top of the body. And I've just repaired it for now, to be quite fair. Just got it glued in place and what have you, and just so it's not going to get any further damage. And the worst thing would be if I lost that little bit of post, but it's a really easy fix, and this has got such nice parts in it. And I've got a builder of the 66 as well. And I've always wanted to use the custom parts on the builder, and I've never found the custom parts separately. Actually sold one with the custom parts on it years ago again, and I've since got the 66, and yeah, that was a box kit as well, but it was a built box kit as stock, and all the custom parts have been nabbed out of it. But yeah, you got radius wheel arches, clear hood, custom front and rear ends on them. So this is a great kit for me, because it's not that I can build one kit out of it. I can build two versions out of it. Like I say, if you wanted to do this drag version, these rolled wheel arches are included, just like as a separate piece. And yeah, this was about 50 quid as well, like, and like I say, somebody got some nice kits out of there, and I didn't really want to bid on too many of them, to be quite honest with you. Like I say, I think I was watching the Lincoln, and the Lincoln just went past my price budget at the time. And but I've got builders of the 6.7 Lincolns. I wasn't overly fussed, and so yeah, another one. Again, colours were great on this. They just look good on the shelf, stacked up and what have you. And it was one of the ones. Let me just. I've still got this magazine handy on next to me bench. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull it out from other stuff. But yeah, this was a magazine I bought in 1990 when I was 10 years old. And the first thing you can see is all these 67 kits here. I think, yeah, the Camaro, the Galaxy, the Chevrolet, they were always in the wider boxes, whereas like Thunderbirds, which I've got the 6.7 Thunderbird, you know, they're always in the narrower boxes. But you know, I remember seeing these as a kid and just being in absolute awe of at the box art. Even then, I liked the fact that they didn't have the picture of the car on the end. I thought, but it's like I say, this was a big inspiration to me. This article in here about Colin Turner's collection. You know, I think an event. You know, I've used this as reference in the days where there was no internet or anything. You know, to find out about old kits, and definitely served me well over the time. But yeah, so buying these ones, they're always linked to the memory of that magazine. So yeah, it was nice. And yeah, I bought these probably a month apart or something. But yeah, a couple of nice old kits. And to be honest, we're running out of stuff, to be fair. What we got a couple of promos. Yeah, I think that's it for the box stuff. But yeah, I bought another promo. But this one's a 71, 72. And I don't know what it is about the Cadillacs. I mean, this one's luckily still hanging on to dear life to its post. I think this one's just starting to bow out a bit. But yeah, the 71, 72's always been a big favourite of mine. Another one which I wanted to build, like one out of the original Gone in 6 Seconds movie, that white one they burnt. I think when I watched that movie and saw the white one, and it was such a nice looking car, that's what started swaying me from me liking the 50s stuff. You know, I was always a massive fan of the 59 Cadillac, and then, you know, that film introduces you to so many nice late 60s and 70s cars, sort of run-of-the-mill sort of cars back in the day. And not many in there have been replicated in the scales, hence why when you can find one, you buy it, and the ones you can't find, I've got plans to convert them and stuff. So yeah, this is just a really clean promo, to be quite honest with you. I think the seller had a 75, 76, but to be quite fair, I only buy them for parts. Posts and stuff like them. Yeah, the price on that one was just too much for me, to be quite honest with you. But the price on this one wasn't too much for me for a 71, 72. So yeah, happy to have that one as well. Another promo. Again, seller was selling quite a few promos. But this is the one I bought to keep. Just because you don't see many of them, to be quite fair. This is a 62 Rambler Classic. Good condition throughout, chrome's good on it. It'd probably just get built into a factory stock, but maybe a little bit more detailed. Factory paint on these were always, I don't think they were bad actually considering for what they were like. So, but yeah, they weren't perfect, but yeah, just quite a hard one to come by over here, and I think they had a lot of run of the mill stuff and same kind of stuff which I've got too many of anyway, like the 55 Pontiacs and 56 Pontiac, wherever they were, and yeah, they did a few, and they were just a little bit too. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the 50s stuff anymore, so it's. I mean, I like it, but yeah, I like the 60s and 70s stuff more. So yeah, that was a nice one. Came with a box and what have you. So not that I'm really that bothered about boxes on these things, just because I'm not. When I say I want to keep them, it's because I want to do something with them, and promo boxes aren't. Yeah, they aren't the be all and end all of it for me, I'm afraid. I mean, I'll keep it with the kit. I'll keep it with the promo until I actually do something with it, just in case it does have to, down a few years down the line, if it does have to go. But yeah, like I say, I think I try and keep all my stuff preserved well. Yeah, just for myself, and if I decide to sell them, But this was the last thing, and I don't usually buy diecasts. I don't think I've got any diecast in my collection at all. But I saw this, and these usually go for quite a lot of money, to be quite fair. I think they're road signature. But this one had a few little issues with it. I didn't really know much about them. I knew the prices of them. But it ended up, it was like 30 quid shipped to me door. And like I said, I've not really looked into them before, but the reason why I bought it is because I've always wanted to do a 125th presidential Lincoln. And I thought, well, people spend about 30-40 quid minimum on aftermarket parts on some kits. I know some people will spend hundreds of dollars on the aftermarket parts. And I thought, well, if I do a 125th conversion, maybe I can use some of these bits and what have you. And then obviously it's 124th, and when I got it, it was just like, well, it's a little bit big for that. But what this serves as is a great reference. I mean, most of the stuff I do is based on, when I'm doing a conversion, it's based on pictures alone. And it can be really difficult, especially if there's not many pictures of that particular car. And, that generic box art bill's a prime example where we got one picture and we're trying to build a really good representation of that car just by one picture. So I thought, well, if anything, it's a good reference point. And for 30 quid, and it does have its issues. I think it's been, and that's what got me starting on this one. I mean, these go for quite a bit of money, or sellers want quite a lot of money for them, and they are a lovely kit. But like I say, I didn't really look into it much, and when I got it, I was like, you build it, you do I think it's like I say, it's a road signature, and they've made such a nice job on this model, and then display case they came with it. It was like, the font on here, it just looked really childish. Or not childish, but it didn't match the kind of quality of the model. I thought, if that's how it came, then it's I think they made a bit of a boo boo on that. But that side, look at it on, and this one's got lights on it, and like I say, it's got its faults. This was the main fault with it. I think somebody had it apart. And I was wondering why somebody had it apart. But they've done all this to it, they've done flashing lights on the front. Yeah, it's a bit bright, is that, but... So, whoever had this had put it on its own display, so... I don't think the road signatures one come with a big display case, and... So somebody had gone to a lot of time to take it apart. Unfortunately, I think they've broken a few bits in the process, but... I've done a really good job on that. So I think I'll probably end up taking this thing off this display case, or at least taking the letters off. And it'll be just a nice reference point, and I'll probably just restore this, see if I can repair. I think the door's broken on it and the hood doesn't open properly, but you know, it's got LED lights in there, and like I say, I really do need to learn how to do lights. And yeah, because then the other thing, I thought, you know, this toggle switch looks really naff as well for such a nice model. So it's all these little things, and then when I started actually researching the model, it don't come with working lights or anything like that. And I think they've got obviously got the battery power pack in the trunk lid or something, but yeah, just a really good reference point, if nothing else. You know, if I was to ever build a 1/25th version out of an AMT kit, you know, I've got plenty of 62, 63 builders, and I was going to use an old warped, I think it was heat damaged 65 Lincoln I've got. You know, I think front end's been heat damaged, but the side panels were okay, so I was going to take a section out of the side panel and for the extension point on it. But yeah, it'll either be a parts thing, this, or you know, it is rough. It is got its faults enough to see if I can make some of this work into a 1/25th scale model. But seems a bit of a waste of this one, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, if you ever see these cheap enough, I'd highly recommend them. Obviously, it's not going to come with the lights and what have you, but yeah, but like I say, lights is something I really need to learn about. The problem, I think what I find hardest with stuff I'm not really clued up about is that I know you can go online and I know you can buy stuff off eBay and what have you, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, there is so much. It's a bit like evergreen. Can't work out this stuff in my head to save my life, you know, what size I need to buy, and there's just so much of it that I just, you know, I'll spend half an hour looking at stuff, and you know, you obviously want to get the cheapest deals, so you search by lowest price first and what have you on wiring stuff, and it boggles my mind too much to the point I completely lose interest in spending my money, and then I move on. So I just really need to look into how to build an easy system for front and rear lights. I mean, I don't think I'd ever do anything like flashing stuff, you know. I'm not into, yeah, I do like fleet cars a lot, police cars a lot, but I wouldn't really be that interested into making lights flash on them, to be quite honest with you. But there's a few projects I've got in mind. Yeah, one of the projects before I started YouTube, one of the ones I want to do on YouTube is Corgi did a set with the 63, 64 Buick Riviera, which was towing a boat, and I wanted to recreate that in 1/25th scale. And I've got the 64, well, I've got 63 and 64 Rivieras. And I've got the Lindbergh, one of the Lindbergh 1/25th boats, which pretty much looks like the boat they used in that Corgi set. And I'd probably end up scratch building the trailer or something. But yeah, with that one, the Corgi Riviera had the illuminating lights. Obviously, it was all done by light tubes and what, like through the top of the dash. You know, the light would shine through the windscreen onto the luminant piece of plastic which leads to the front and rear lights. I thought for that one, yeah, I'd really like to do the lights on that one, just to, you know, recreate that Corgi look a little bit more. But yeah, anyway, that was me banging on about lights for 5 minutes and nothing really about this stuff. So yeah, and I think that's pretty much it, to be quite honest with you. yeah, I think, like I say, there's 14, including the diecast thing, there's 14 kits there, which hopefully I can keep in the collection for a long time. But yeah, some better than others in some people's opinion, probably. But yeah, a nice little bunch of kits there, I thought. And like I say, I've not had much time to work on that project, and I think that's purely a weekend thing at the moment. I am helping a business out at the moment as well, a couple of days a week, which is really cutting into my time and my energy, to be quite fair. And, I don't know what's wrong with me, to be quite honest. For years and years, as long as I can remember, I've just constantly felt tired, and it's doing stuff like this, it breaks that, and that's why I really enjoy it. Because if I wasn't sat in front of this bench now, I'd be feeling tired, and it just breaks my mindset out of it. And that's why I can spend hours at a bench building and getting stuff done relatively quickly. I know it's kind of slow progress on that Galaxy, on the generic box art build, but once I get to the bench, I can really get stuck into it, and none of my builds will go over a month, I hope. And that one's a pretty... There's a lot of work in that body. There's a lot of work in it. But once we've got the body done, yeah, the rest of the kit's just going to pretty much fall together. So we'll have that one done in a month as well. And I'll, like I say, these I'm probably limited at the moment to 2 videos a week. So I'll do like a weekend one and a midweek one at the moment until I can get into more of a rhythm. And obviously my internet thing's still going on. So I'll shut my face. Wish you all a very pleasant rest of your day or evening, whatever time I get this uploaded. I'm taking my partner to a doctor's appointment. I know it's to pick up a prescription or something. So I'll leave my phone at hers, uploading this while we're out, and pick it up when I drop her off and what have you. So hopefully going well. This video don't cut off like the last one, and you can watch it to end. But on that note, I will wish you a pleasant evening again, and we'll see you in the next video. See you, bye.